Hello, Pirate family, and welcome to a video weekly update for Friday, October 14th. And as always, thank you for joining me, and I hope everybody's had a great week. We're finishing up our seventh week of school here. Looking forward to exciting time of the year. A couple weeks away from Halloween, and be moving into very quickly the holiday season. And coming off of just an awesome week last week, a homecoming weekend. As you can see, the slide that I have behind me for this update just depicts our tremendous fighting pirate marching band that got the parade started last week. And you can see the weather definitely played in our favor, at least for the parade. And then followed up with just such an awesome opportunity to have a homecoming game at home. The community turnout was remarkable, but at the same time, it was disappointing because we had to stop the game just roughly halfway into the first quarter because of lightning delays that lasted for a little over 2.5 hours. But we resumed the game close to 10:30, and the student section stayed strong, and and it was an exciting victory for our Pirates. But nonetheless, such an awesome week just to see everybody coming out, see our entire community come out, and just to honor, celebrate, and just be part of what makes us so special. And our school district is a part of what does make this community so special. And Saturday night, we had our homecoming dance. It was outside at Pirate Stadium. Phenomenal. Once again, the weather was fantastic. The theme was Under the Stars. Student government did a tremendous job decorating and getting things ready. And our students had a blast. And so just wanted to share some of that with you. And once again, thank you for your participation and your support during a very exciting week that we haven't had experience this for almost well over a year to have these type of activities in place. So let's go ahead and move forward. I wanted to spend just a small chunk of time talking to you regarding quarantining, because that seems like to be an issue and things that we're hearing more in the media, board meetings. We're having folks come and speak about that, and just emails that I'm receiving. I am providing the impact, COVID impact data in the email that I'm sending with this update, so I won't spend time going through that. You can see it for yourself. Things are staying pretty steady, right where we've been. I know we're seeing increases in the state and in this county for school-age children. The increases once again is that 19 to 30, just the adult age. We are seeing trends throughout the county and things starting to go down, and hopefully in Michigan we're going to start seeing that as well. We're not seeing any significant impact here at school. Things are actually staying relatively low, very manageable. Not a whole lot of variance from when we started school. So we're excited to see that continue moving forward. And then I'll talk a little more about some changes in quarantine in just a second. So with that being said, we knew that coming into the school year, quarantining is one of the biggest challenges that we had. It was a huge challenge last year. It is a tremendous strain on our staff because we don't have extra staff to take on the burden, from our principals to our secretaries in the front office, to the folks here at central office, and trying to manage it. And so we knew, and more importantly, that it's a disruption to learning and to families, to be honest with you. Quarantining impacts students, obviously not being here at school. Families, a little bit different last year. A lot of families were able to work at home. That's changed, especially our little ones. So when kids have to stay home, we know that the parents have to sometimes take off work as well. And we know that's a burden. And we're sensitive to that. We're trying to do everything we can to minimize that. But at the same time, there is a need to quarantine. And then it's a strategy from the health department to minimize the potential spread of any virus, but specifically in our case for COVID. Schools do not quarantine. We don't have the authority to do that. The health department does. We are assisting just because of the nature of the situation in terms of identifying close contacts and communication, because the health department cannot take on that burden. So, but they do have the authority to do that. And it's, once again, it's a strategy to mitigate, to minimize the potential spread of any kind of virus. And so we're trying to balance the health needs that we need to have in place, but also alongside the educational needs and keeping kids here in school. And it's definitely an imperfect system, and it can get messy. We do our best. We're not, we're not scientists, and we're not medical professionals. We're educators trying to assist the scientists, the medical professionals in this process. And so I'll be first one to say is, we do the best job. I'm sure we don't always get 100% right, but we're doing what we can with the information we have. And I know there's a lot of frustrations because students sometimes have to miss opportunities here at school, or maybe extracurricular opportunities. And but we're doing our best to minimize that. I hope you know that the Livingston County Health Department has also been working with us and trying to look at ways. And even the state of Michigan, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, have, excuse me, have come out with some options. One that we're using where students have a 10-day quarantine. After the 7th day, they can return back to school. If they're asymptomatic, they provide a provider COVID test that is negative, and then they have to wear a mask for the remaining part of their 10-day quarantine, which at most is 3 days. And so there is that option. We did not partake, and we're not partaking in the alternate quarantining option that our own health department, and I've already gone through why, and that's really just a management or human resource situation. But also at the same time, I would like to share that just recently, within the last week and a half, the health department has allowed us, instead of using the 6 feet guidelines for identifying close contacts, to go down to 3 feet, which is something that's being used in those districts that are fully masked. But we're also using it here now in community schools and in a way to collect data. And the reason why they're doing that is because the data is very clear, is that approximately 97.5% of the students that are quarantined are healthy and do not contract COVID. And that's data from the health department. That's not my data, that's countywide data that's led by Dr. Juan Marquez. They're seeing about a 2.5% transmission rate in schools across the county. Once again, that's a rough number because they're not really sure one way or another exactly, because our kids are all over the place in our community, not just in school, and it's really hard to identify. But I'm sure, and I'll be the first to admit too, I'm sure there are some transmissions that are happening in the school, but it's not the predominant way COVID is being transmitted, and it's actually really difficult to identify. But they will go on record, have gone on record to say that a majority, and it's close to 100% of kids who are quarantined are healthy. So we're trying to minimize that. Doesn't mean that we don't need to do it. Doesn't mean that it's still an effective risk management strategy, but we're trying to take a look at the scale that we have to do it. So right now we are now identifying students only at 3 feet, and they're collecting data, and they want to see, is there a significant change when we do this? Because if there isn't, we're going to continue on this path. And I do believe we're on the right path. And I know what people are advocating just to get rid of quarantine entirely, wants to change tomorrow. And I hear you and I get that, but this is a process. And I think we're going to get there. I think as this is a transition year, once again, we're learning how to operate in a COVID life, because I don't think it's going away. We got to just continue adjusting and using what we learn using from our experience, looking at different types of data and making decisions based on that. And that's what we're trying to do. And when I refer to different types of data, one thing that I know the medical professionals are starting to look at, and I've read a medical journal and talked to a doctor just recently in the last 2 weeks, is that instead of assessing the severity of COVID by numbers and cases, because I think we're going to continue to see cases, we're going to see numbers, those aren't going away. And just like anything else, they're going to ebb and flow. They're going to spike, they're going to go down. It's going to be kind of a fluid, kind of a roller coaster ride, depending on the situation. But really taking a look at the severity of the cases. And that's really the kind of the litmus test and the stick that we need to start measuring against. And I think that makes sense. The doctors, I talked to, said that makes sense. And I see that's the trend that we'll probably be looking at in the future. For instance, we've had probably, I think, between 900 and 1,000 cases in Livingston County of adolescents. This is going back in sometime early August. And not one of those has been admitted to a hospital, even going back to last year. So under 18. And so that's the data that we're looking at and it doesn't minimize severity. We know people can get sick and do get sick. And we understand that, and not trying to be not empathetic to those situations, but at the same time, looking at what is the majority, kind of, making decisions from the patterns that we see and from most of the cases that we're seeing here. And most of the cases that we are experiencing from our youth, the students who have symptoms, they're minimal symptoms. They're able to come back to school and re-engage in learning once they have their time at home, and making sure they're not contagious here at school any longer, or they're asymptomatic. So those are really the two trends. And so that's kind of where we're building our model and moving forward, because we have to continue moving forward. And from an educational standpoint, we have to continue looking at ways to minimize the impact here at school. So that being said, just be patient with us. Once again, we're getting people throughout the county and even at our own board meetings talking about their concerns with quarantining. I've had some frustrated parents. And once again, I get where that frustration is coming from. And we're not trying to prevent kids from being here in school. If anything, we work very hard to make sure our kids here at school, because we think that this is the best place for our kids to be. Our teachers are the best people that need to be in front of our kids. But it is kind of a transitional period of time that we're working through right now. So just wanted to put that out there and share kind of my thoughts and where we're at this point in time. Transitioning really quick. You can see, obviously I'm going a little bit back to homecoming, and I've got some pirate swag on here. This was provided from Coach Beaton at the high school. But also we know that we have a lot of pirate pride in this community, and people share that with the gear that they wear. And then we've had Positively Pink Knee P2 play a big part of that. And we've had a store selling our merchandise and online. And Deb Reynolds, who's done a great job for us for several years, is taking a step back from that volunteer position. And so we've had, and with COVID too, we've obviously just had to make some changes, but we're looking to get things up and running again. And I have a parent who is looking to step up and help with the store. And we're excited to announce that I think sometime in November, probably early November, that we're going to make sure our online store is up and running. And also we're going to provide opportunities for folks that we've done in the past to come in on very specific hours. Most time is after school, maybe on the weekend, to come into our store here and to do some holiday shopping. And got a lot of great inventory. We're looking to get some new inventory. But I had several parents, especially last week during homecoming, contact me about getting some pirate swag. And we're excited to be able to begin offering that very shortly here. So stay tuned. We'll definitely be making that information available once we have it nailed down. Lastly, I just want to thank you, parents. I talked about concerns about TikTok challenges, and pleading with you to talk with your kids. And I'm confident most of us have done that. We're definitely seeing decline, and really we're not seeing any increases in some of the concerns of the themes that we presented, and you've even heard them on the news. And hopefully our students are getting the message and understanding that these are not appropriate. They may seem like they're fun, and they can be exciting because it's on social media, but in the long run, it's not in their best interest. And so it takes all of us to help support our students and making good choices. So thank you once again for taking that time just to talk with your children and making sure that they're clear on our expectations and really what they need to do to continue being successful here at school. So appreciate that. That wraps us up. So once again, thank you for spending a little bit of time, and we're going to continue doing a great job. Next couple of weeks, we're going to wrap up the first quarter very shortly here, and we're going to have parent-teacher conferences coming up in November. Each respective principal and building will be sharing their information, their plan, and the process that they're going to use to allow parents an opportunity to connect with their children's classroom teachers. So thank you. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for your involvement, and as always, let's go Pirates.